we've had our fair bit of heat. We've had a fair few heat waves already this summer. Quite a decent summer, dare I say, so far. But they've not all felt the same. Why is that?
Yeah, we've had a record-breaking summer already, and we're not anywhere near the end. We're only midway through, and we've had 3 distinctive heat waves, just a couple of weeks apart. You might remember Wimbledon not that far back was bookended by hot weather, one of the hottest starts to Wimbledon on record. And we get our hot weather in the summer in the UK by 2 different methods. And one is a huge area of high pressure, day-on-day heating, more and more strong sunshine. The sunshine's at its strongest this time of year, so temperatures soar naturally in the UK, and it's homegrown heat.
I love that phrase. When I read your article online, I thought, homegrown heat. That's such a nice kind of, like you said, it's almost organic sounding.
Yeah.
We've grown it right here in the UK, and we don't do it very often.
It sounds quite wholesome, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like we're in the greenhouse.
Good for us. Yeah.
And the other method of getting really hot weather for our neck of the woods would be from drawing in heat and humid air from the near continent. So we either have our own homegrown heat, day-on-day heating, or we get a southerly flow, a plume of warm air from the near continent, and that draws in hot, humid air. And usually, when we get our heat waves here in the UK in the summer months, we are under the influence of that high pressure, either over the UK or from the hot weather from nearby Europe. And the difference this year is that we've seen more in the way of homegrown heat, which isn't quite as humid.
Okay.
We get a bit more of a coastal breeze developing.
More bearable then.
A little bit more bearable, you could say, a little bit more comfortable. While previous heat waves, more likely in previous years, we've seen more of an influence from the near continent, and we've had increasingly humid, hot air and higher temperatures. But yes, so we've got these 2 distinct ways of getting our heat in the UK. One is homegrown heat, one is hot weather from the near continent.
We kind of steal it from the near continent.
We do. It sort of plumes its way up. I've
Right,
heard that
word plume.
Yes.
Another word, the super plume summer. What does that mean? Because I've heard that used a lot.
I mean, it was being used in forecaster world earlier this summer. So
amongst weather geeks, which I know you are one.
Well, there's several others, obviously, all start chatting. And self-declared weather geek, super plume. We get plumes of warm weather. It's exactly how you might describe it, like a plume of warm air, plume of smoke. It's that shape, right. But imagine it geographically from south to north. So when hot air drifts in from the south of Europe or from southern Africa towards our shores, it plumes up towards us, and it's just a natural way of describing the movement, I guess. And that was coined as a super plume summer, I think, because we had more access to that hot, humid air in Europe because of our weather scenario this summer. And so the chances are of having hot weather was higher, and it has been higher.
I mean, it has been really, really lovely, but a little bit more unsettled of late. Are we going to get some more of the good stuff?
Well, I'd never rule it out. I mean, we're so close to the Atlantic, it sort of prevents us getting too hot. So we've always got systems rolling in from the mid-Atlantic, and to prevent those moving across us, we have high pressure in charge. But sometimes that high pressure declines, low pressure comes in, and we see a spell of blustery, cloudy, wet weather. Now, the rain is much needed for some of us, of course, because some locations already have declared a drought, and we've had a remarkably we've had a record-breaking dry spring and summer so far. In fact, the Met Office have said from January to June we've had our driest start to the year since 1976, which is really quite something. I mean, it's historical. So the rain is much needed, but yes, we have got an unsettled spell with some heavy thundery downpours. The influence of the heat from Europe will mean we'll still see temperatures well above average for a time. The hot air can hold more moisture, of course, so when it rains, it pours. The humid air combines from nearby Europe and causes thundery downpours with that humid, thundery, uncomfortable air, and then it breaks and the thunderstorms occur. So after this unsettled spell, where temperatures are a little bit nearer normal, for what you'd expect in an average UK summer.
What's normal for?
Well, exactly. Well, this is better than normal, I'd say.
Higher than average. Yeah, that's a weather term, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, I think when it comes to heat waves, the definition of a heat wave is several degrees above the average, and sometimes it's a heat wave for parts of the south, but not parts of the north. So some of the heat waves we've had this year have been more southern centric, and some have been nationwide. You got to 32 degrees in the Highlands not so long ago. That's not normal.
I'm
for the
heading up
Highlands.
there for most of August, and I'm hoping that it will be historic temperatures up there with my 2 kids. So, Luce, can you tell me for definite, almost definite, I know you weather forecasters don't like to be held down to it, but are we going to get hotter weather over the next few weeks, next few months? Are we going to get another heat wave?
I mean, there's a signal for high pressure to re-establish itself at the end of July and into August again. So it looks hopeful. It looks like the high pressure will rebuild. We'll see more hot weather, more high temperatures, and continue this trend of this exceptional summer that we've had so far.
Now, heat waves aren't just about kind of hot, stifling days, are they? It's it definitely feeds into the nighttime too, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where things might be quite unbearable for some people, as in we don't only have the heat during the day, that heat sticks around all evening and all night. It takes ages for those temperatures to slide as we sort of keep that heat trapped. So when you get temperatures in excess of 30 degrees, closer to 35, 36 degrees, most summers in the last 5 years we've seen mid-30s, you can imagine it takes a while for those temperatures to decline and for that heat to give way. And so that buildup of heat just sticks around. And so we've had a huge increase of warm, muggy nights, which this isn't mentioned quite as often as the hot feeling days.
Yeah.
But warm, muggy nights are just as uncomfortable, and our infrastructure isn't conditioned to deal with
We don't have aircon.
Yeah,
at home.
exactly.
I have done for the last few weeks, lie in bed with the fan pretty much on my face, because I find the
same.
nighttime really, really tricky. I don't, sleeping in the heat, I'm not good.
Exactly. It's like when you're abroad, you've got air conditioning. Not everybody's got the luxury of air conditioning.
And then you freeze.
Exactly. Feast or famine.
Never happy, never happy.
But also, the Met Office definition of a tropical night is when temperatures don't drop below 20 degrees. And we've seen loads of nights this summer where it hasn't dropped much below 17 or 18 or 19 degrees. I mean, it's just, you're seeing temperatures by night that you'd see sometimes during the day in the spring. I mean, it's quite significant, and I think people do notice it.
How much of a growing trend is this?
People's perception changes so much, doesn't it? I mean, I think we've got a higher chance of hotter weather in the summer. We've got higher chances of seeing records being broken. We see records broken all the time. It's not always consistent. We've had a run of a couple of grotty summers, actually. Last year and the year before, especially last year, was nothing exceptional at all. It's not guaranteed hot, sunny, humid weather like you get in Europe, but it's because of our proximity to the Atlantic. We have systems breaking those high pressure situations down. So in a sense, I think that's possibly not the worst thing in the world, because if we're seeing this trend of increased heat, increased frequency of hotter summers, warmer nights, it's nice to have a break from that now and again.
We're grateful for cooler temperatures.
Exactly. And then it's, when we do get a good summer, it makes you even more grateful. I'm just flipping it. So it's very hard to say there's consistency, but there's definitely...
There's no guarantee that next summer we're going to
Exactly.
have another one after that.
But when you look at the statistics, when you look at how often we're seeing temperatures in excess of 30, close to 35, we saw 40 degrees in 2022. That's something we didn't think we'd see in our lifetime. The increased humidity, which is a relevant mention as well, the warmer nights. And of course, when it does rain, it pours because the warmer air can hold more moisture. So there's changes, and it's more significant than ever before. And I'm seeing it in my career, just in this short space of time.
For 20 years?
Yeah.
Hard to say that. We've already touched on how geeky you are about the weather, but has our changing climate, has it changed how you work? Has it changed your job in any way?
I'd say it's changed in the sense of we're giving more warnings. We used to just explain the weather, which is great. We enjoyed that, and that's a huge part of what I love doing, communicating the weather to the public. But alongside that now sits warnings, and there's greater risks to talk about and public safety to talk about. And as we're seeing more serious, severe, extreme weather, there's more responsibility. So I'd say there's a more serious side to it than previously, and I think that's changed more in the last few years, especially with all the warnings that we add to part of our forecast time.
And do you think, as a result of better weather, are you getting more interest in your job? Do you find that you do explainers for us online and you write more? Is that because people are more interested?
I think people like to know. I think people like to know what's going on. They like to make a plan. They like to have a summer plan, of course. And it's always the way that the weather breaks just as the school holidays start, or just as the kids go back to school, or it brightens up again and it gets better. I mean,
I used to always remember it was always in revision time.
Yeah.
The weather used to be glorious when I used to have to sit behind my desk and try and revise GCSEs or A-levels or whatever. And then as soon as I was a free agent, down came the rain.
It's the British weather will never be a tired topic, will it? I mean, it's the biggest.
It's so fascinating because it's ever changing. You can't predict.
Exactly.
Really.
It's the biggest icebreaker. It's the biggest small talk you can have, isn't it? It really is. So I think if the penny hasn't dropped now, it's never going to drop. We know we're going to get hotter summers and milder, wetter winters. That's the trend. But there will be the odd anomaly and the odd year that doesn't fit. But that doesn't mean on a global scale it's not the case. So things don't always fit, but the vibe, the trend is for everything is changing. And I think we're seeing it before our very eyes.
The conversation is endless for us Brits and the weather. Lucy, thank you very much for coming in chat to me about it all. And for more analysis from the ITV weather team, go to our website, itv.com/news/weather. Until our next quick briefing, thank you for joining us.